Hooterville is one of the strangest and most humorous places in the history of American television. But behind the absurd situations, the square eggs, and the eccentric characters are real lives that were even more dramatic, painful, and extraordinary than any script. The 13 actors who gave soul to Green Acres have passed away, but their legacy lives on forever. 1. Eva Gabor, Lisa Douglas, a brilliant businesswoman beneath a dainty persona. Eva Gabor, 1919 to 1995, was not only the glamorous youngest sister of the legendary Hungarian-born Gabor family, but also a true treasure of television through her iconic role as Lisa Douglas in the series Green Acres. Beneath the polished exterior of a sophisticated Manhattan socialite, someone who would happily wear an elegant evening gown just to fry pancakes on a crumbling farm, Eva created a character of remarkable depth, the absurdity that feels philosophical. What makes Lisa Douglas so fascinating is the way she approaches life. While her husband Oliver constantly relies on rigid logic in his futile attempts to fix the oddities of Hooterville, Lisa possesses a quiet, razor-sharp intelligence. She is the only one who truly understands and embraces the absurdity of the world around her, transforming it into a source of happiness and resilience. Her apparent silliness is, in truth, a carefully worn mask, one that reveals profound adaptability, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Eva Gabor infused this role with extraordinary subtlety, turning Lisa into far more than a comedic figure, the queen of wigs and a business empire. Away from the screen, Eva shed her dainty image and emerged as a formidable businesswoman. She founded and ran one of the largest wig companies in the world at the time. With sharp business instincts, she once famously declared, "Working is what keeps you young." Her elegant and melodious voice was also immortalized through the character Duchess in Disney's classic animated film The Aristocats, the final notes of a life's melody. Despite her remarkable success, Eva's personal life was marked by turbulence, including 5 marriages that ended without lasting happiness. She had no children. In 1995, a tragic accident in a bathtub while vacationing in Mexico led to complications from pneumonia, ultimately taking her life. Eva Gabor may be gone, but her legacy, of a woman who embraced glamour while mastering her own destiny through intelligence and grace, remains an enduring source of inspiration. 2. Eddie Albert, Oliver Wendell Douglas, a true war hero behind the role. In Green Acres, Eddie Albert portrayed Oliver Wendell Douglas, a Manhattan lawyer driven by idealism, yet hilariously inept at farming after choosing to abandon city life for the countryside. However, beyond the portrayal of a well-meaning but perpetually unsuccessful amateur farmer, Eddie Albert in real life was a man of extraordinary courage and stature, completely unlike the awkward persona he played on screen. From secret agent to hero of Tarawa, few people know that before becoming a Hollywood star, Eddie Albert worked as an undercover agent for the United States and Mexico, gathering intelligence on Nazi activities. But the pinnacle of his bravery came during the Battle of Tarawa in World War II. Serving as a naval officer, he piloted an unarmed landing craft directly into heavy enemy fire to rescue 142 wounded Marines stranded on a coral reef. For his heroism, he was awarded the Bronze Star. Yet, true to his humble nature, Eddie rarely spoke of this achievement, viewing it simply as his duty as a soldier, a genuine pioneer of organic farming. Ironically, while his character Oliver constantly failed at farming, Eddie Albert in real life was a true expert in sustainable agriculture. As early as the 1940s, he became a pioneer in promoting organic farming practices and owned a real working farm in Pacific Palisades. His deep understanding of agriculture added authenticity to the show, making Oliver's comedic failures all the more believable and entertaining. Tragedy and a father-son bond at life's end. The final chapter of Eddie Albert's life was both heartbreaking and deeply moving. He battled Alzheimer's disease in his later years. Throughout that time, his son, Edward Jr., set aside a flourishing acting career to care for him full-time. Then came a devastating twist. Just 1 year after Eddie passed away at the age of 99 in 2005, Edward Jr. also died of lung cancer at the age of 55. The devotion and sacrifice shared between father and son left behind a profoundly emotional story, one that continues to move audiences to this day. 3. Pat Buttram, Mr. Haney, the smooth-talking swindler with a signature voice. If Green Acres is a chessboard of absurdity, then Mr. Haney is undoubtedly its most cunning piece. Pat Buttram brilliantly embodied the role of a fast-talking schemer, a man who could sell junk as treasure. He would roll into town in his beat-up truck, offering worthless odds and ends while pitching them as priceless commodities, all in an effort to outwit and profit from the ever-hopeful, naive lawyer Oliver. A career born from pure chance. Ironically, the man best known for playing a con artist on screen was actually the son of a strict and devout preacher. Pat Buttram's journey into entertainment began almost by fate during a visit to the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. A radio reporter happened to interview him on the spot, and his raspy, unmistakable voice, combined with his natural comedic timing, instantly captivated listeners. That spontaneous moment became the launching pad for his career. He went on to become a trusted sidekick to the legendary cowboy Gene Autry, and later, an unforgettable villainous voice for Disney and classics such as Robin Hood and the Aristocats. A master of razor-sharp wit, Pat Buttram wasn't just an actor who followed scripts. He was a sharp observer of the entertainment industry itself. When CBS carried out the infamous Rural Purge in 1971, canceling a wave of highly rated rural-themed shows, Pat delivered a line that would become legendary. CBS canceled everything with a tree in it, even Lassie. The remark was not only hilarious, but also a biting satire of the network's abrupt and arguably short-sighted shift in direction. A lasting legacy. Although Mr. Haney was always trying to make a quick profit, audiences could never truly dislike him, thanks to his charm and the vibrant personality Pat brought to every line. Pat Buttram passed away in 1994 due to kidney failure, leaving behind a significant void in the world of sitcom comedy. He remains a powerful reminder that a brilliant supporting actor can sometimes leave a deeper and more lasting impression than the leads, through originality, intelligence, and unforgettable character work. 4. Hank Patterson, Fred Ziffel, a hearing-impaired actor with extraordinary talent. Within the wonderfully strange world of Hooterville, Fred Ziffel stands out as a stubborn yet deeply affectionate farmer, one who treats his pig, Arnold, as if he were his own son, granting him the dignity and respect of a human being. Portraying Fred was Hank Patterson, a veteran actor born in 1888, belonging to such an early generation that when he began his career, cinema itself was still in its infancy. Remarkable determination behind the laughter. What earned Hank Patterson the deepest admiration from both audiences and colleagues was his relentless dedication despite significant physical challenges. By the time he joined Green Acres, Hank was already in his later years and was almost completely deaf. He could not hear his fellow actors' lines, the ambient sounds on set, or even the director's cues. In an industry that depends heavily on timing, rhythm, and audio coordination, his condition seemed like an insurmountable obstacle. The hidden code beneath the set. To support him, the production team devised a surprisingly simple yet highly effective system. A crew member would lie flat beneath the set floor, hidden from the camera's view. Whenever it was Hank's turn to speak or act, the person would gently tap his leg with a long ruler as a signal. Despite performing in near total silence and relying solely on these subtle physical cues, Hank delivered comedic timing with astonishing precision. His ability to read lips and intuit rhythm was so refined that television audiences never realized he had a hearing impairment. The legacy of a true veteran. Hank Patterson remained devoted to his role as Fred Ziffel until the final days of the series. He passed away in 1975 from lung disease at the age of 86. His death marked not only the loss of an iconic supporting character, but also the farewell to one of Hollywood's most disciplined and resilient performers. a man who proved that passion and craft can overcome even the limitations of age and physical hardship. 5. Tom Lester, E.B. Dawson, a real-life farmhand behind the role. In the world of Hooterville, E.B. Dawson appears as a farmhand who is both naive and sly, affectionately calling the Douglas couple Pa and Ma. Yet few people realize that Tom Lester's journey to landing this role is one of the most unique casting stories in Hollywood history, beating 400 actors with real-life skills. When auditions for Green Acres took place, more than 400 young and promising actors lined up for the part. Most of them were polished, city-bred performers with refined acting techniques, but they had little to no connection with rural life. Tom Lester stood out for one simple yet decisive reason. He was the only one who actually knew how to milk a cow. Having grown up on a farm in Mississippi, agricultural skills were second nature to him. This authenticity allowed him to bring a level of realism to the role that no acting school could replicate. A scholarly mind behind a simple character. In stark contrast to the somewhat slow-witted E.B. on screen, Tom Lester was highly educated in real life. He held a bachelor's degree in chemistry and biology from the University of Mississippi. This intellectual depth helped him understand his character on a much deeper level and fostered a meaningful bond with his co-star Eddie Albert. Off-screen, Tom genuinely saw Eddie as a father figure, often turning to him for guidance on both career and life decisions. Their relationship became a lasting bond that endured for decades after the show ended. The Last Guardian of Hooterville. As time passed, many of the beloved residents of Hooterville gradually faded away, leaving Tom Lester as one of the final surviving members of the main cast. In his later years, he fought bravely against Parkinson's disease. In 2020, Tom passed away at the age of 81, marking the end of a remarkable chapter in American television history. On his gravestone, the words E.B. of Green Acres are proudly inscribed, a lasting testament to the deep love he held for the role that defined his life. 6. Alvy Moore, Hank Kimball, a courageous Marine behind the comedy. In the world of Green Acres, Hank Kimball stands out as a uniquely eccentric county agricultural agent. He is famous for his contradictory way of speaking, making a firm statement, only to immediately contradict himself, leaving everyone around him utterly confused. Alvy Moore portrayed this role so convincingly that audiences could hardly imagine the war-torn past hidden behind that absent-minded smile. Rising from the hell of Iwo Jima. In reality, Alvy Moore was the complete opposite of Hank Kimball's scattered personality. He was a true warrior. As a United States Marine, he fought in the Battle of Iwo Jima, one of the darkest and bloodiest chapters of World War II in the Pacific. Surviving what many described as a living hell, where tens of thousands lost their lives, Alvy carried within him a resilience and inner strength rarely seen in Hollywood. The humility of a true hero. Like his co-star Eddie Albert, Alvy Moore belonged to a generation of quiet heroes. He rarely, if ever, spoke about his wartime experiences to elevate his public image. Instead of revisiting the horrors of war, he chose to bring laughter into the world. His optimism, warmth, and professionalism on set became his way of overcoming the psychological shadows left by the battlefield. For Alvy, making audiences smile was the highest calling after witnessing so much loss. A multifaceted legacy. Beyond acting, Alvy Moore was also a forward-thinking producer and a passionate lover of the arts. He passed away in 1997 at the age of 75 due to heart failure. His departure left a profound void for the character of Hank Kimball, a man who could never quite finish a sentence, yet left behind a timeless impression. More importantly, Alvy Moore is remembered as a courageous soldier who chose humor as his weapon in facing life. A legacy as powerful as it is inspiring. 7. Barbara Pepper, Doris Ziffel, the most heartbreaking story. In the colorful world of Hooterville, Doris Ziffel appears as the hard-working wife of Farmer Fred, a woman who lovingly helps her husband care for their pig Arnold as if he were a priceless treasure. Yet few would suspect that behind Doris's weary, worn appearance on screen lay the remnants of a once glamorous blonde bombshell who had captivated Hollywood in the 1930s. The fall of a Hollywood rose. Barbara Pepper began her career as a dancer and a rising actress, possessing a sharp beauty and allure comparable to the biggest stars of her time. She was also the closest friend of the legendary Lucille Ball. However, tragedy struck when her husband died suddenly in a devastating motorcycle accident. The emotional shock sent Barbara into a deep depression, and she turned to alcohol as a means of escape. Over time, addiction took a devastating toll on her appearance, transforming the once radiant star into someone almost unrecognizable, even to those who had known her before. A lifeline through friendship. Lucille Ball never abandoned her dear friend. In fact, Lucy had originally intended to cast Barbara as Ethel Mertz in the iconic series I Love Lucy. But fearing that Barbara's struggle with alcoholism might disrupt production, she reluctantly withdrew the offer. Instead, Lucy quietly used her influence to help Barbara secure the role of Doris Ziffel in Green Acres. This opportunity became more than just a job. It was a lifeline, both financially and emotionally, giving Barbara a reason to keep going and continue performing in the final years of her life. A farewell left unfinished. Barbara Pepper remained devoted to the role of Doris until 1969, when her health deteriorated beyond recovery. She passed away from heart disease and pulmonary complications while the series was still in production, forcing the show to recast her role in later episodes. Her passing left behind a painful lesson about the fragility of fame, but also a powerful testament to the rare and enduring friendship that can exist even within the ever-changing world of Hollywood. 8. Bea Benaderet, Kate Bradley, the heart and soul of Hooterville. If Hooterville is a community filled with chaos and comedy, then Kate Bradley is the thread that holds it all together. Bea Benaderet brought warmth, kindness, and quiet authority to the role, transforming her into a beloved maternal figure, the heart of both Petticoat Junction and Green Acres. A hidden talent behind legendary voices. Before becoming a familiar face on television, Bea Benaderet was already a legend in the world of voice acting. She was the voice behind Betty Rubble in the classic animated series The Flintstones. With remarkable vocal versatility, she could shift effortlessly from sweet and gentle tones to sharp and commanding ones within seconds. Few people know that Bea was once the top choice of Lucille Ball for the role of Ethel Mertz in I Love Lucy. However, due to professional commitments and personal principles, she declined what could have been a career-defining opportunity. Even so, her talent continued to shine brilliantly in her own way, making her one of the busiest and most respected performers in Hollywood at the time. A sacrifice for the art. At the height of her career within the Hooterville universe, tragedy struck when Bea was diagnosed with lung cancer. Rather than stepping away, she chose to fight bravely while continuing to film, determined not to disrupt production or affect the livelihoods of her colleagues. Her dedication was so profound that even as her health declined severely, she continued to appear in her final scenes with the brightest possible smile. A farewell filled with regret. Bea Benaderet passed away in 1968, just as the Hooterville universe was reaching its golden era. She left before fully witnessing the enduring success and long-lasting cultural impact of the world she had helped build from the very beginning. The absence of the soul of Hooterville created a void that could never truly be filled, leaving subsequent productions with a subtle but undeniable loss of warmth, compassion, and familial spirit. 9. Frank Cady, Sam Drucker, the man who connected television universes. If there is one character who knows every secret, holds every letter, and witnesses every strange event in Hooterville, it is Sam Drucker. Frank Cady portrayed the general store owner, who also doubled as the town's postmaster, judge, and newspaper editor, with such effortless authenticity that audiences sometimes forgot he was merely a fictional character. An unprecedented record in sitcom history. Frank Cady achieved something that very few actors in American television history can claim. His character Sam Drucker appeared consistently and simultaneously across three major sitcoms of the era: The Beverly Hillbillies, Petticoat Junction, and Green Acres. He served as the single logical anchor connecting these shared television universes, No matter how absurd the setting became, Sam Drucker was always there, standing behind his store counter with a gentle smile and practical advice, symbolizing stability and reliability in a world filled with eccentric characters. A refined intellect behind a simple apron. In contrast to his modest portrayal of a small-town shopkeeper, Frank Cady was, in reality, a highly educated man. He graduated with a degree in drama and even spent time studying and performing in London, one of the most demanding artistic environments in the world. Yet instead of pursuing grand Shakespearean roles or the dazzling spotlight of Broadway, Frank devoted 17 years of his life to Sam Drucker. He embraced simplicity and cherished the way this character connected people to one another. To him, this was the highest form of acting, making fiction feel as real and relatable as possible. The legacy of a legendary neighbor. After Green Acres ended, Frank Cady chose a quiet life, largely retiring from acting and only returning occasionally for special appearances to honor fans. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 96, leaving behind a legacy of professionalism and pure dedication to his craft. His Sam Drucker was more than just a role. He became a cherished memory for millions of American families, the kind of neighbor anyone would wish to have in real life. 10. Supporting cast and other fascinating facts. If the main characters form the skeleton of Green Acres, then the supporting cast provides the vibrant flesh and color, creating the chaotic yet deeply human charm of Hooterville. Among them, the bumbling Carpenter siblings and Oliver's formidable mother stand out as truly unforgettable highlights. The Monroe brothers, breaking barriers of their time. Sid Melton, Alf, and Mary Grace Canfield, Ralph, formed perhaps the most incompetent Carpenter duo in television history, never quite managing to complete a single project for the Douglas household. Yet Ralph Monroe, portrayed by Mary Grace Canfield, carried a deeper social significance. In the 1960s, when women were largely confined to domestic roles, Ralph appeared in dirty overalls, wielding a hammer and performing physically demanding labor traditionally associated with men. She became one of the earliest female characters on national television to challenge gender stereotypes, inspiring a sense of independence and strength among women of that era. Eleanor Audley, the face and voice of Disney's most iconic villains. Another supporting character who commanded both respect and unease was Oliver's mother, portrayed by Eleanor Audley. She brought to Hooterville an air of elegance, authority, and at times, an almost chilling coldness. In reality, Eleanor was the legendary voice behind some of Disney's greatest villains, Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty and the wicked stepmother in Cinderella. Interestingly, Disney animators didn't just borrow her voice. They also modeled the facial expressions and mannerisms of these villains after her real-life presence. Each time she appeared in Green Acres, audiences could glimpse the shadow of a powerful Queen of Darkness behind her performance. Perfect pieces of a timeless puzzle. Their contributions prove that in Green Acres, no role was ever truly small. Each actor brought a unique story and a distinct talent, whether from stage performance or professional voice acting, combining to create a Hooterville that has remained unforgettable for more than half a century. Conclusion: Green Acres, a legacy of extraordinary souls. Green Acres is far more than a comedy built on absurd situations. It is a living museum, preserving extraordinary lives. Looking back over 60 years, we see a collection of remarkable individuals, from more heroes like Eddie Albert and Alvy Moore who emerged from the horrors of battle, to the sharp-minded businesswoman Eva Gabor hidden behind a seemingly delicate persona, and artists who fought illness and obscurity with unwavering resilience until their final breath. Hooterville may be an imaginary town filled with square eggs and a talking pig, but the people who brought it to life were profoundly real. They infused every scene with their own pain, triumphs, and humanity. The legacy they leave behind is not just laughter, but enduring lessons about kindness, friendship, and perseverance. Though the cast has now become part of history, their spirit continues to shine. Like a warm light from the screen, reminding us of a golden age of American television that will never truly fade.